three people. This.
Well, I'd already explained that to her.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
For the
sure.
last 20 minutes.
Oh, I wanted to tell you. I heard from Ryla. I told them to call you. I told them I didn't think you were sponsoring anyone this year, but they should.
That's right, and I had sent an email to Dana a couple of weeks ago, telling him that we were not going to have a student.
Are they going to have Raleigh?
Well, that's in July, late July.
I don't think that. I was surprised they're still having it. Actually, I can't imagine even in July putting 100 kids into a camp right now. It's just not.
70.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that.
We don't stay. We go out there and take this. This is a high school students going into their senior year.
Okay.
And it's for a whole week. And it's out at Camp Hopkinsville Salvation Army Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And they have really good leadership training. And so.
But this isn't the time for that. The house sale fell through, which I wasn't sure. Well, it was supposed to, but it actually, and we're not even going to go until like another year or so. Because can you imagine driving to Florida now and looking for a house? I don't think so. We're staying here and having our food delivered, and that's about as much as.
That's all my cooking, Howard.
So I'm back. So I don't know if the party was a waste. They did a goodbye party because we sold our house.
Accolades back.
And then after we sold the house, this happened, and the sale fell out because the people who bought our house sold their house, and the people who bought their house lost their jobs, so they couldn't buy it. But I was glad. I mean, not glad they're suffering, but the last thing I want to do now is drive 1,100 miles across Mississippi and Louisiana. No, thank you. It did seem like a good plan. And I'm reading, like, even truckers, they can't even find bathrooms. Everyone's like locked up their bathrooms, and I mean, I can't hold it in till I get to Florida, I can tell you.
Every 8 hours, every few hours for a rest, but yet they closed down the rest stops.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Even the state rest stops.
Oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. They closed them down.
Oh my goodness. I'm thinking about, just the occasional restaurant, but
Oh no, the rest stops.
Everything.
so that's across the country.
And then the gas stations have locked up their bathrooms.
Wow.
So there's no place to go.
There's no place to go. Oh my goodness. That's horrible. I didn't realize it was that bad.
That's the least of it, I think.
You gotta laugh to keep
Yeah.
it right.
At least we're not nurses and doctors. I would not want to be one of them right now.
Yeah, my best friend is a nurse practitioner, and she's on the front lines every day.
It's hard.
Yeah, some days she doesn't get a day off, just working straight, the days and, the weekends as well.
It's got to be very hard to watch so many people die, and there's nothing you can do to help them.
Right.
And we turned it into the Hunger Games. It's every state for itself. And I just read that what he's doing is when states find stuff, he steals it. Like they had a thing yesterday, California found 38 million masks, they thought. Well, they were told it was a scam. How did they find it was a scam? And they heard they had the masks. FEMA tried to steal the masks away so they wouldn't get them. And then they found out the people they were stealing them from were fraud. So they put the FBI on it. But the reason they found out is they were stealing the masks. He told the states to do it themselves. And when they find something and he finds out, he takes it away from them and keeps it for his friends. So that's how they found out what was going on. They had 38 million masks, they thought, and they were going to try to take them away. And then they found out, well, it was a fraud. But that's pretty sad that, you know, that's how they're getting their equipment, stealing it from the states when they told the states to do it.
Right.
Said you're on your own. And then after they went, and now they're all bidding against each other. They should have one place, the FEMA people bidding on everything, and use the Production Act to keep the price down instead of bidding up against each other, which makes no sense at all. And when you federalize something in an emergency, they're supposed to take over. That's the whole point, and they don't want to. So I don't know. It's pretty shocking to me what's happening.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see the books that come out after this period.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting.
Hopefully there's still people to read them. I don't know.
Back during the Katrina hurricane,
Oh.
the electric company, the local company, they've been in Florida, and they went into New Orleans, and they are set up. It's like a military operation. They got 300 people. They got tents, field kitchens, latrines, showers, everything you need. And then they have all kinds of equipment. They have all kinds of trucks. And every day they run a resupply truck. And they had a fuel truck coming in with diesel fuel. And FEMA confiscated it at the Louisiana state line. And the truck driver called back and he says, hey, the government took it, what do I do now? I said, well, come home. And the head of the company called the governor of Texas, who said, and of course that meant then they couldn't go fix the electric system because they didn't have any fuel.
Wow.
And the governor said, when are you going again? Well, tomorrow morning. When and where are you going to be leaving from? I'll send a Texas Ranger to escort you. And they came up and somebody said, well, when he crosses the state line, does he have any authority? See on his hip, see that pistol and his hand on? Tell him you're taking his truck and see if he has any authority.
Are you ready to start recording, Howard?
Yes, I'm so set. Whenever you're ready, we can start our meeting.
Okay, start recording. Now it's on.
Oh,
Yeah. There.
that's your computer okay. You don't like anything I do, you do it. All right, I'm supposed to welcome everybody to the April 14th meeting of the North Texas E-Club. And normally tomorrow would be the day we have to get our income tax in, but now they tell me it's July. I hope it is, because I haven't done it yet.
It is.
And anyway, okay, so you want to do, Linda's going to do the invocation.
Okay. Bless our friendship today and bless this meeting. As we meet here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our services to fellow citizens and to our community. Let's continue to strive to make a better world. Be mindful of the suggested rules of engagement for the COVID-19. Keep safe and stay healthy. Amen.
Okay, and somewhere we have a flag, but you'll join me in the flag.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Well, the only business I had was the Ryla thing, and I had them contact you.
Okay, well, they had contacted me Well, I don't know, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, it's been since I've been home that I contacted him, told him that we were not going to have somebody, but I sent that to Dana. Who did you get the information?
It was a woman, and I told her I spoke to you, and I was under the impression we weren't doing it this year.
That's right, yeah.
And that's what I told her. But to be sure, I gave her your phone number because I didn't want to make a presumption I was wrong.
Okay, okay. And then the other thing I have, there's going to be a business meeting on June the 13th. But, the deadline for suggestions for amendments to the manual procedure, there's due on April the 24th. So if you have any suggestions, give it to us, we'll submit them. David has a couple, I think. But anyway, that's all. The last roundtable was, by Zoom,
Charlotte.
and, we had like over 70 people on.
I'm in a Rotary meeting. I'll call you when it's over.
Charlotte's online. She just came in. Hello, Charlotte.
Hi. Hey, Charlotte. How are you guys?
Good.
Our friend LA. And maybe you've noticed, now you can't just go to the meeting, you've got to be, unless you have a password, and I don't know how to do it yet.
Well,
You go in a waiting room, and then we have to admit.
did you admit Charlotte?
What?
Did you admit Charlotte?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
she's here.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing I had, there's gonna be a happy hour online on a Thursday night at 5:30. Wear a crazy hat, whatever kind you want, have your drink, your appetizer, whatever. And it's the regular Zoom meeting that we have for the district, which is 736-734-8174. And that's the district Zoom meeting number. So come join us 5:30 this Thursday.
Will we get an email about that?
It's gone out, and Howard, can you send out an email?
I don't. Can you send it to me to send it out?
Yeah? I didn't know Ken Blankenzy sends these out, so I don't know who gets them.
I'm not
And
sure.
I will-
I don't usually go to those things, so I wasn't really focusing on it. If she sent it, it wasn't on my radar really.
You're not a happy person, huh?
I'm not unhappy. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm surviving. I go day to day. Every day is the same now. There's no weekend. The only way I know what day it is by the television show that's on. It's a Monday show, so it's Monday.
We didn't have bad news. Sam Zorro, who was our youth exchange chair for 25 years or more that I've been in Rotary. Anyway, he passed away this morning from cancer.
Oh,
And so anyway, so I let our exchange students know. I was just got back from Qatar, visiting an exchange student there that was originally from Russia, another exchange student that was South Africa that lives in Doha also. So we all got together in Doha and had a dinner and everything. And so I let them know about Sam. And
And on the way to the airport, I gave her an N95 mask, but did not get on the airplane with her. She found it today.
actually, I didn't get it on the way because I found it today hanging or in a bag by the door going out.
well, actually, I got something on that. They found there's another mask that's KN95, and it's the Chinese version of the N95, and the FDA wasn't allowing it, but they changed the rule, and now the hospitals can use it. So if you need a mask, go to Amazon and look for K95. It's almost as good. They're telling doctors in the hospital on the front line they can use it, which means it's pretty safe. They wouldn't be telling doctors and nurses that it was acceptable. So I bought 30 of them today, and they're not gouging on them yet because they just changed that ruling like a day or two ago. And I know a lot of people have been trying to find masks because they're all gone. But these,
I ordered 2 bags a couple of weeks ago. They were supposed to be delivered on the 6th of April. Well, they got to the Irving, it went through something thing, it got to Coppell, it got to Irving.
He lives in
Irving, I live in Irving. The Irving post office sent it to the Grand Prairie office, and I've lost contact. I've got a tracking number, but who do I call now? I call the shipper. It's like, I ordered 2 of them.
Right.
They're supposed to be the really nice.
Right. Go with K95 though. It's K95. It's on Amazon. That should help you.
I'm staying in the house.
Still, if you go to the store, you want to know you can breathe because you don't know who was there before you, and this is a good way to stay safe.
Yeah.
And the 95 means it filters out 95%,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right. But the K95s do also.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no 100%. If it's 100%, there's no air and you can't breathe. It's called a plastic bag, and it's very effective for about 3 minutes.
Right now, the ventilators are causing more problems, that they really just need the oxygen, because the ventilators push more air down into the lungs, and it does so much to the lung damage. So it really, more people will survive on just oxygen. Now
Yeah.
that they're making all the ventilators.
Yeah.
Fort Worth, 30 miles west of Dallas, they are only using half of the ventilators that they have. And their hospital rooms are only about half full. So
But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay.
It's better to be over prepared than under prepared. And it's not over. If you look at the last flu, it came back 4 times.
Whoa.
The pandemic in 1918, and the second and third one was where everyone died. It wasn't the first one.
Wow.
It's just starting. This isn't going anywhere.
Well, they say they come back. I heard some universities are not going to be starting until January now.
I don't know. Nobody really knows because it's new. But I just know that the last big one came back 4 times, and it killed, I think, 50 million people. And they think this is worse, but they have better medicine, which is why more people are surviving. But they said it's more lethal than that was.
Read today, China says they've had 82,000 cases.
That's what they said.
You can't go by what. That's like Trump saying we got 50 million masks, and then they can't. In his head.
Okay, if we can get Howard to shut up, we'll introduce the speaker. You want to introduce? Now that we've been, are you going to introduce the speaker?
Sure, let me go find her information. I need a second. Hold on. Here it is. I wrote it down. Okay, so let's just see. Here's her. This is Valerie Leonard. She's been working with nonprofit organizations for 20 years in one form or fashion. In one life, she was a financial analyst helping the CFO of a major hospital system arrange nearly $120 million in bond financing to cover major expansion projects. And in another life, she was the founding executive director of a small neighborhood grant-making organization using small grants to help residents develop the skills they need to take control of their economic environment. And she's leveraged these experience and lessons to launch her own consulting business where she helps nonprofits. So rather than go on for 20 minutes, I'm going to let her take over because she knows what she's doing. And if you would like, Valerie, you can, if you want to show PowerPoints, if you hover over the middle in the middle that says share screen, and you can, and whatever's on your screen you can do if you choose to.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. I assume that you guys can see this, right?
Can.
Okay, I want to, I guess I want to move this somewhere where I don't see us quite as much. All right. So basically, what I'm here to share is how to develop an individual leadership plan, and you'll find that the process is very similar to a strategic plan, but it's focused on the individual itself. All right, bear with me. Alrighty, and before we go into that, I just want to share a little bit about Nonprofit Utopia. We're the ideal community for emerging nonprofit leaders, and we have created a safe online space where folks can innovate and speak freely and very candidly, about some of the concerns that they share. So what goes on in nonprofit Utopia stays in nonprofit Utopia. We're just like Vegas, just online, right? So our mission is to develop the next generation of ethical nonprofit leaders, and we provide ongoing professional development, and we also provide networking opportunities. And this day and age, most of those networking opportunities are going to have to be online rather than in the physical space. And our overarching goal is to give our members the tools that they need to develop strong organizations that will not only develop them, but to make a lasting impact. And our vision is to strengthen the global nonprofit sector by providing training and development opportunities for 50,000 people between now and 2033. And we want to also expand beyond Chicago and have folks from other countries. And so far we've got people from 4 states and 2 other countries other than the United States, and we plan to expand. So you already have heard about me, and now we just want to just go into the process itself. So you would do this pretty much again, like I said, like you would do a strategic plan for an organization. And one of the first things you want to ask yourself is why? Why are you writing this plan? Is the plan for personal development? Is the plan for professional development? Is the plan for civic engagement? Is it for school or what? And your why is really going to shape what the plan looks like, because different situations call for different strategies. So the next thing you want to do is talk about your context, which in this case, we're going to talk about it as your where. So you want to describe the situation and talk about where it is. Is it at work? Is it at school? Are we talking about a home or family situation? Are we talking about church or other religious organization? Are we talking about a civic organization, a local organization, say a block club? So context really, really matters here. And then after we look at the why, and after we look at where, we want to look at what. What's going on right now? What are the current events? What are the issues? Are there any problems or challenges? And what are some of the driving factors? So I can imagine if you did a professional development plan right about now, if you had one, say 6 months from now, 6 months away, you probably would have a very different plan today than you had 6 months ago, given COVID-19.
6 weeks ago.
That's very true. It's very, very true. We were thinking, at least I was here in Chicago, and many of my friends, we were thinking, oh, this is going to be over in a couple of weeks. And, every news cycle, we seem to hear something different. So
But they're saying in England it's going to take 18 months. That's what they're expecting, 18 months.
Wow. And they don't have as many deaths as the state of Illinois. We have twice as many as they do. So if it's going to be 18 months for them, minimally, that'll probably be the same for us. But, just going to say that, these professional development plans, these have to be flexible. They have to be done within the context of a changing environment, because you want to, always position yourself in the best possible light given the circumstances. And, so what are some of the consequences if we don't act? And right about now, the consequences could be pretty dire. And then the next thing we want to focus on is the who. Who are the stakeholders in the plan? Even though it's an individual plan, doesn't necessarily mean that other people aren't impacted. It doesn't necessarily mean that other people don't care. So I can imagine as a Rotary Club, you have stakeholders, and it's in your best interest to make sure that your club members are developed and people in the community with whom you do the service projects are developed. And same for a school or a business or whatever. So you have to really think about who's impacted by your plan. How can they help you, and whether or not they're supportive. And that, can vary from environment to environment. And how will their support or lack thereof impact your process? And then most importantly, you don't want to just look at who can help you. You want to look at how you can help others. How does your process, even though it's helping you evolve into your higher self, so to speak, how does your process help others? And how can you reciprocate and help those who are helping you to develop? So the next question you ask is, who inspires you? And then again, your answer is going to be given within the context of your why, your where, and your what. And then you develop a list of people that you view as strong leaders and why. And that list, again, that could vary based on, the context within which you're doing the planning. So if you're doing a plan for school, and you're doing a plan for home, and also a plan for your professional development, I would imagine that each one of those lists are going to be very, very different. And you may have one or two people that overlap one or two of those lists, but your inspiration is going to change, I would imagine, given your environment. And then the next thing you do is list those qualities that make for strong leaders. So building upon your list of people that you admire, again, this is all within the context of within which you're developing this list. You want to develop a list of qualities that they have in common that cause you to identify them as being strong leaders. Some of those qualities you might even have, and some you might feel that you lack. And if you feel like those are qualities that you would like to develop, then that becomes, one of the aspirations of your plan. And then if there are other leadership qualities that you haven't listed based on the qualities of these people, then you need to add them. And then on the flip side, there are always those leaders who inspire you least, or if they inspire you in negative ways. There are qualities that they may have that you may have yourself that you don't like about yourself, or they may be qualities that you hope you never develop. And as with your vision and your mission, it's always good to keep those traits in front of you, whether they're positive or negative. And then again, you go through the same process you use to develop your list of people who inspire you in a positive way. You make a list of those people who inspire you in a negative way, and look at those qualities that you don't desire. And this will be a list of qualities that make for flawed leaders. And in fact, we're all flawed to some degree, but unfortunately, some leaders are more flawed than others. And we shall not name names, but you want to develop your list of flawed leaders. And then, even if you have to put yourself on this list, I know I would have to put myself on such a list. Look at those qualities that would actually impede progress. Then after that, you go through, a full-blown assessment process. So you're gonna look at your strengths and your challenges. You're gonna look at your skills, whether those are personal skills, whether they're interpersonal skills, whether they're technical skills, and that's not necessarily the same as education. And then you want to see yourself in terms of your ability to influence others. And if you follow John Maxwell at all, and and he's pretty much a well-respected leadership guru. Leadership is nothing more than influence. So you want to look at how you see yourself in terms of your ability to influence others, but then more importantly, you want to understand how people see you and your influence and your ability to influence them as well as influence others. And then you look at your work style. How do you like to work? The environments in which you would more likely to thrive. And then as you go through this process, you might, it might become crystal clear that the environment is either a good fit for you or it's not a good fit. So you can't lose, by becoming more self-aware, looking at your own leadership capacity and style. And some of the more popular tools would be one, John Maxwell's leadership assessment tool. And that is basically a tool where you're looking at your ability to influence others. And there are no right or wrong answers. You're looking, you're judging yourself on how well you feel that you influence others. And then we've all heard of the Briggs-Meyer assessment, where you're basically looking at personality traits, and that's very useful in helping you to understand not only your core makeup, but it helps you to understand how your team members are made up as well. And then this third one, the Leadership as Fit by Human Dynamics Institute, that tool helps you to assess your leadership capability, first of all, within a static environment, which is more traditional, an environment that we were probably used to up until, I would say, the 80s, a more formal, rigid environment. And it also helps you to assess your skills within an environment that's constantly changing. So you can, look at yourself within two different types of environments, and then understanding where you might thrive, looking at your strengths and weaknesses. But regardless of which of those tests you take or assessments you take, the results will help you better understand your core characteristics. And then after that, you determine your core values. So your core values are those absolutes. Those are the things that help you weigh choices in life, and you're typically unwavering. And sometimes we write those core values down, and you'll see that a number of organizations write those values down, and then some organizations are better than others at adhering to their written core values. And core values are really, I think the best determinant of true core values are not what you say, not what you write, but what you do. And when the rubber meets the road, when you have to make a fast decision, your core values, the things that are most important to you, are going to guide the day. So I think it's also very helpful to look at your core values within the context. If this is for a work environment or for an environment that you're going to be doing some volunteering, look at your core values within the context of the core values of that organization with which you'll be working or volunteering. And again, you may have a really interesting aha moment. I don't know about you, but I've been part of a number of organizations who have stated core values that seem to resonate with who I believe that I am. And then I get to working with the organization, and I'm like, so I think as you go through this, you'll have a number of those aha moments that will be very helpful. And then the next step is to actually write the personal vision statement. So as we do those vision statements for our organizations, we need to do a personal vision statement for ourselves. And that will be a statement that helps you to picture, what will you look like as a result of all this activity that you're doing, and also as a result of your experiences, and it's going to reflect your personal traits and core values, and you will have gotten that from the first part of this process, as well as going through your self-assessment results. And then you're going through all of that to help you get to the question that we always ask ourselves, and we're probably asking ourselves this more than ever: who am I and why am I here? So the personal vision statement is going to become your personal constitution. So it's going to be a physical reminder for you to see where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to go. And again, that process is very, very similar to what you'll do in an organizational strategic planning process. But by outlining your vision, you're going to have something to look back on when it comes time to develop your goals and to write your action plan. So here's an example of a personal vision statement, and I got this from the Criminal Watchdog blog, and this is from Amanda Steinberg. She's the founder of dailywork.com. So Amanda says her personal vision statement is to use my gifts of intelligence, charisma, and serial optimism to cultivate the self-worth and net worth of women around the world. So apparently she, if she hasn't formally gone through that process, she probably, has really kind of gone through a process where she kind of assess who she is, what's important to her, what her strengths are, and how she can share her strengths and make the world a better place by sharing her gift. And the next thing you want to do, you want to ground yourself in reality, because we can have these wonderful visions, but often our visions are not grounded in reality. We want to get a sense for what other people are thinking, and not that we want to become so, we don't want to get to the point where what other people think causes us to just blow in the wind, but we really do want to understand better how we come across to other people, how our actions might hurt other people, might help other people, and just make sure we take that feedback into account. And we also have to determine who the messenger is. There's some people, it doesn't matter what you say or do, they're very negative. But if there is negative feedback, it's always worth consideration. Trying to understand where that negative feedback could come from and how you can improve yourself. And then you might also want to consider sharing the results of those assessments with other people to see, do they see you as you see yourself? It'll be interesting to see where the similarities are and where the differences are. And then, obviously you don't want to ask just one person, and you also want to make sure that the people that you ask are people who are objective and people who really care about you, and get the positive feedback as well as the feedback that will help you improve. And then most importantly, you want to get a sense for, what patterns begin to emerge. What similar feedback do you get on a positive note? What similar feedback do you get negatively? And are there outliers? And are those outliers worth considering, or are they just that, outliers? And then after that, you want to make sure you look at your skills and ask yourself clearly, what skills do you have that can serve as a foundation for you moving forward to achieve that vision. What skills do you need, and look at the gaps between where you are and the skill sets that you might need to get to where you want to go. And then look at how you're going to get those skills. Are those skills going to come through additional training? Will they come through additional education, on the job training, or just being thrown from the frying pan into the fire? Does it come from volunteer or civic engagement? And, is there anybody who can help you? And how will you help those who are going to help you? Again, reciprocity is key. And then after that, you want to develop your goals and objectives. And your goals are those sweeping generalities to tell you, overall what it is you want to do. And those objectives are those things that tell you incrementally what you need to do in order to reach those goals. And whether we're talking about goals or objectives, we need to use the SMART principle. And I'm sure you've heard this over and over. And in this instance, when we talk about SMART, we're talking about goals and objectives that are specific. So we're talking about what exactly you want to do. And we're talking about measurable goals and objectives. So it will be very, very helpful if the goals and objectives you have for yourself within, again, the context of which you're developing this plan are measurable, because you want to be able to show some progress, right? And not be frustrated. You want to make sure that they're realistic and achievable, and then timely. And then what's realistic and achievable, that is going to vary from person to person. That's going to be based on where you're starting from now. It's going to be based on your capacity. It's going to be based on the time that you have to devote to this personal development journey. And then remember that whatever your goals and objectives are, they need to be done within the context of the why you're planning, where the plan is happening, right? And then the goals and the objectives of your particular organization or group. So it makes no sense for your boss to support this if at the end of the day, your goals and objectives are not in alignment with the organization and what he or she is trying to achieve. And at the end of the day, if you're doing this personally, trying to make sure that you can exhibit a better form of leadership in your family situation, it does no good if your goals and objectives are not in alignment with your partner's goals and objectives. Okay, and then finally, we just want to develop the individual leadership plan itself. There's no one way to do this plan, but ideally, your plan is going to have have different parts where you're assessing the situation, you're identifying your leadership style. You're going to be looking at your strengths and weaknesses, but as you look at your strengths, you want to look at ways that you can exploit those strengths. And then when you look at your weaknesses, you want to look at ways that you can either mitigate those, if there's some way you can shore them up, or sometimes a good strategy is just to ignore them and just focus on the strengths. But either way, you need to be aware of what they are. And then you need to develop goals and objectives, and then those activities that are going to help you reach them. And then if you have someone who's helping you along, so for example, a mentor or your boss, your partner, find someone that you can have constant feedback, to give you reality check and help you, meet your goals and objectives. And then obviously you want to keep your stakeholders, keep them aware. And the amount of information you share is going to be based on their stake in this whole process. If this is for your family, obviously your family, your spouse or your partner would probably be more interested in this than your children, even though you might want to talk to your kids, but you don't share with them the same level of information that you would your spouse or your partner. And the same way within a professional environment, you might want to share certain information with your boss, your coach or whomever, has a stake. But again, you're going to sift out the information that you share based on that person's stake and authority within this process. And finally, you just do it. Just do it. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, I'm open for questions. And here's my contact information. I'll just leave that on the screen. No need in reading it, and you can see it. But if there are any questions,
just one. Have you made a template? I was thinking what you did would be really, you could make a downloadable template of that, and people could fill it in, and it would make it really effective for following through. Just a suggestion.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion. And you know what? I'm gonna do it, and if you don't mind, I'll share it with you.
I would like that. I'm a speaker also. I don't know if you knew that, but so yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
I will definitely share that with you. I welcome your feedback and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I could even see you creating like a product out of that, where you create an activity book, and you just add a little more slides and more interaction, and you can even take it up to a coaching level where you coach people on how to do it, and then they don't do it themselves, they do it with you. It's just a suggestion.
Okay. I will definitely take you up on that suggestion, and I will definitely keep you posted. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. It was a good program. I just thought you could get more from it yourself by doing those things. It would be another income stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I put this on our Facebook?
No, not at all. I'd be honored. Thank you.
No, it's very good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And I really appreciate the invitation. And just as much as I appreciate the invitation, I really appreciate the conversation. It was
Thank you.
It was good conversation.
It's nice to have people to talk to other than the one person living in the house, right? I'm calling people out. Remember the show Lost? I'm calling the people out. The others. There's me and my wife, and there's the others. We stay away from the others because they can be sick.
Well, Valerie, we always like to extend an invitation. I know you probably do a lot of traveling and everything, if you make regular meetings, but you're always welcome to, if you'd like to join us, we'll give you more information.
Yes.
You're
I
our
would
headquarters,
love that.
so, Howard can send you an invitation.
Okay.
Anyway, but this is a good way to make your meetings, and we are meeting just twice a month now.
Okay.
And we do have some of our local projects and projects like, in fact, on our district roundtable meeting, Howard, it was mentioned that, our E-Club was participating in the dialysis machines that they were installing in India, and that Dick Strayer is our member in California, and that we had participated.
Oh.
So these things here locally, some of them have now been canceled or postponed.
I believe the guy from McKinney was doing it, the Indian gentleman.
CC.
Cece, yes, Cece. I know him very well.
Yeah, and we do have an adoption event that we do, it's adoption awareness, and that may be canceled, that's at the end of July.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a hold of the director here locally, and, so, anyway, we'll see how that comes on. But it's where this Child Protective Services brings in the kids that are up for adoption and the parents that have been vetted. That way the parents can see how the kids interact and socialize, and gives them a better idea of what the students are like. And we usually get like a 60% match. That doesn't mean they're gonna be adopted, but at least somebody has indicated an interest. And so that's one of our ongoing projects.
That sounds exciting.
So we used to be the only organization in the state of Texas that was vetted to do this. But I guess we were so good that they have opened it up to church organizations now that they can follow of what we've been doing for the last, 10 or 15 years.
It's good.
So,
Helps more kids. That's a good thing.
yeah, so anyway, maybe, anything else?
Charlotte, did you have anything you wanted to add or ask?
You're asking, you're asking Linda or me?
Anybody have any?
Charlotte's the telephone.
Oh,
That's Charlotte. Yeah.
You don't recognize Charlotte?
She,
no, Charlotte looks like somebody else I know. I missed a few for somebody else, Charlotte. I missed a few for my Bell.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm showing my age now, right?
I know Ma Bell.
in this group, you're a kid.
I'm so happy to be called a kid. Brian, oh my goodness. No, sorry.
We do have fun tonight. Even though we're a small group, we had fun.
I needed to laugh. I really did. And thank you all so much. You know, there's just so much going around, you know. This is
No, it is nice to laugh.
So, David, do you want to do the four-way test?
Why don't you do that, Howard?
Okay, the four-way test are the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will build goodwill and better friendships. Fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. And Oz's will be fun. I'll see you in 2 weeks. If you need me, I'm around. Call me. And Valerie, send me an email to Mr. Reader, MRREADER at MSN, and I'll send you back some stuff. And if you'd like, I'll give you access to my learning program as a gift for coming tonight. I just need your email to do it because it's online and it uses that for to link it to you.
okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
All right. And
Bye,
thank
everybody.
you guys for having me.
I am about to end the meeting. Ready?
Ready.